Live, it looks like. I've got the red light. Looking for that green light. I know it's going to be there. Circle, circle. There it is. We're live. Let's get started with this. Today's a different kind of a story. I'm not here to bump anybody. I'm not here to offend anyone. I did that yesterday. Well, let's talk here. Well, I guess I would call this the ins and outs of self-publishing, or if you will, the good, the bad, and the absurd of publishing. Let's talk about this. You know, someone who's written a book, somebody who wants to publish a book, or somebody who is a published author. Understand, indie publishing, that's short for independent, is a whole new world, and it's doing a lot for people and for authors. You know, not so many years ago, if you wanted your book published, you had to go through an official, what we call legacy publisher, legacy printer. You had to have an agent, then you had to have a manager. Finding those two alone, you could spend a lifetime looking for agents or managers. Fine. And then you would hope they could get it looked at, because most of the time they'd go to big publishers, they'd say, not today, see me next week. And it's always next week. Millions of authors, millions, in search of a publisher, languished in the face of legacy publishing's insane and pretentious requirements. To this day, did you know that fewer than 2% of submissions by recognized agents are approved for publication? That means out of every 100 manuscripts, 2 of them are approved or tentatively approved, because of that 2%, fewer than 3.8% of them are going to be promoted in any way by the publisher, who instead relies on the author to do the bulk of promotion. They'll say to the author, you call the newspaper, you call the TV station. Very, very few, mostly your giants, your James Clavels, your Clancy's, your super authors. Those guys don't have to promote themselves. But nobody comes out of the blue, no one comes out of nowhere and publishes a big hit by legacy printing. That's important to remember, because I'm an author and I've worked through legacy publishing. They've published and promoted me. I understand just what's happening, because I've been slowly but surely moving into the realm of independent or indie publishing. I've seen both sides of it now. I've worked both sides of the aisle, and I'm beginning to get more and more independent and less legacy. Legacy, the big publishing houses in New York, like Harcourt, Brace, Jovanovich, like just all of them. After jumping through myriad, often indefinite hoops, kissing a lot of asses, pacing the floor at night, an author is lucky if they get accepted and go through all of this crap. They'll be offered 15% royalty on a hardcover book, 7.5% on a paperback, and 25% on an ebook. Unfortunately, ebooks are not taking off. You know, a few years ago we thought ebooks, that's the way to go. That's going to go. No. Ebook sales are languishing, and print book sales are picking up. Worse yet is that the publisher will decide what format you'll be printed in. They'll decide if you're going to go ebook, if you're going to go paperback, if you're going to go hardcover. They co-own your copyright, and they make the decisions. If you want to be printed, you knuckle under and kiss their ass. Fact. An author, in order to achieve that holy grail of being published and seen on the bookshelves, is going to surrender his or her choice of format and, again, co-ownership of copyright. Now, I've spoken with agents and managers. They tell me that any manuscript submitted automatically gets turned down at least twice. They know that. They go in, hey, I got a hot manuscript for you here. Take a look. They make it all the way to the editor, who says, put it on my desk. The first 2 times it comes, it's going to get sacked. It's called a red tag. They're going to refuse it. And there are managers who, after the second time, won't try a third time. There are plenty of fish in the sea, plenty of authors to fish around with. Does that suck? Sure it does. You understand today, less than 27% of new titles in all formats are coming from legacy publishers. Your big boys, your Penguin Books, all of these guys, all the new titles, less than 27% are coming from them anymore. And about 73%, that's 3 times as many, are coming from independent author publishers. Interesting. Companies like Amazon, they offer inexpensive, high quality printing, distribution opportunities. They really support the author, the independent author publisher. They'll help you. They offer tools to help format and clean up your work and even design the cover of your book. You understand? Preparing it for print and publish. You can do it by yourself, or they can even recommend folks for you to go to. But if you're editing your own, formatting your own, doing your own, it doesn't cost you to publish. This isn't a vanity press. You're not going to dump thousands of dollars into some company to print 500 copies of a book and say adios amigo. It is not a vanity press. Understand that as soon as you give anybody money to print your book or publish your book, it's vanity press. You're not an indie. You're not legacy. You're vain. It's vanity press. I remember a book called Distant Vision about a genius named Philo Farnsworth, the man who invented TV. His family, after his death, busted their humps, paid I don't know how much to have a book printed that they wrote called Distant Vision. Huge, like 400-page hardcover. Well, they went to a vanity press, they got socked for the cash, and it never went anywhere. You understand, Amazon will distribute your books through Amazon and other electronic bookstore venues. They'll assign you an ISBN, International Standard Book Number. You're on the road to success. And rather than jump through the hoops of legacy publishing, dropping thousands of dollars on some vanity press, the folks at Amazon make it easy and they make it free, damn near free. Indie publishing's good, but as with anything, there's the good, the bad, the absurd. Let's talk about that absurdity, shall we? First, a burp. Ah, that feels better. Here's the good. Independent authors can print and distribute their own books through Amazon. They can label their books with the name of their own publishing house. Create your own. Call it the I printed my own book publishing house. It's a good idea to get your name registered, get a copyright on it. Okay? Then you print. And as an independent publisher or author, you own your copyright outright. You're not sharing it with another publisher. You own it. That copyright's yours. That book is yours. Okay? As an indie, you're guaranteed publication of your work just as long as you keep it reasonably decent and adhere to a simple but very fair set of standards imposed by Amazon. You know that your work will be distributed. You know it will be printed. It will be published. Hey, oh, that's the holy grail. That's the reward of every author. I'm back. Got to cough that way. I don't know. That's the good. Okay, the bad. You don't get funding for things like promotion, launch parties, book signing tours, TV appearances. These things are expensive. They cost money. If you're accepted and honored by a legacy publisher, they'll do a lot of that for you. They've sent me from coast to coast. They sent me to Japan. Book signing's been great for my better books. But most authors, even when you legacy publish, will not be treated as well as I have because I've sold a lot of books. They didn't treat me as well to begin, but after about 10,000 book sales, they cuddle up to you. All right? That's the bad. You don't have that publication money behind you to push you around. And you don't have them canvassing through the distribution syndicate where they can put your books on B. Dalton Book and on Walden Book and on Walmart and Target. You can get your books everywhere. But, okay, that's the bad. You can't get any of that done as an indie. But as an indie, you can rely upon the growth that comes literally from word of mouth or advertising on the internet through Amazon. They got some good advertising campaigns. Check them out. Cheap. Now the absurd. For that, I got to get a drink because the absurd really, really pisses me off. Hold on, see if I can reach it. Back to the magic fridge. All right. You see what I'm doing? That's because I need a drink real bad. There we go. Thanks for your patience with me, folks. Yeah, I know. Not very professional of me, but what the hell? I don't claim to be professional. I just like doing what I do, and I love talking to you. Here we go. Get a quick drink. Oh, that's cold. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's better. Good burp. All right, here we go. Let's get back to it. So the absurd is, and this is absurd, your friends, family, acquaintance, relatives, other people who are not privy to the details of the industry and they're ignorant as to how it works. They often look down on an indie. Their preconceived notions, born in the soil of ignorance and jealousy, cannot grasp what indie publishing is about. More's the pity, but who needs these bastards anyway? Remember this. It's like explaining the state budget to somebody who failed high school math. When they look down on you as a vanity press, just realize ignorance is not that rare. I have a brother who's an ignoramus, but we won't get into that. Looked upon a woman I know, in fact his sister, who had a book published by Amazon, through Amazon. She had it printed there, and he said, yeah, that's one thing when you have to pay somebody for your book. You don't pay. This is not vanity press, baby. You're standing on your own. Your best-selling indie authors often earn significantly more than traditionally published authors. I know 4 or 5 published authors. They sell fairly well. I'm making more money than they are on my indie books. Yes, a survey by the Alliance of Independent Authors, there's always a company there, shows that indies are seeing steadily rising incomes, and their earnings are beginning to eclipse those of legacy published authors. And that's a fact. Indies are making more and more. Now, listen to what Ada Norris has to say. I hate this. Hold on. Wow, I'm really having trouble today. Ada Norris is a published author. She's kept abreast of the whole industry publishing thing. Here's what she said, and I'll quote. The stigma of independent publishing seems to be wearing off as readers find what they're looking for in the world of independently published works. Legacy publishers are largely out of touch with what the public wants, and this is good for everyone except the legacy publisher. In other words, she's saying basically, as your legacy publishers, been around 100 years, 200 years, have lost touch with reality, indies are reality. Now, I'm going to give you a couple examples here. I want to talk about an indie, hot book. Her name is Glenna Rollins Riddle. She's the author of a series of excellent books. The latest, the first in a new series, by the way. The old series rocked. New series called Before She Sees Tomorrow. People, I read this book and I had to go back and read parts of it again. Okay? It's a spine tingler. It grabs a hold of you, and it doesn't let go until you breathe a sigh and close the cover of the book. It's a hell of a good book. Before She Sees Tomorrow by Glenna Rollins Riddle, who didn't pay me a nickel. Go to Amazon, buy it, read it. You won't be disappointed. Now, I am honored to say that Glenna Rollins Riddle is very close to me. A very, very dear friend. Closer than just friend. Not lover. No, don't go there. You might call her my sister. That works. And her books, as good as they are, might never have seen the light of day if she'd had to rely on legacy publishing. To quote Ada Norris, their loss is our gain. Now, there's another book, a series of books by an author named Alec MacLeod. He's the author of the Picasso of Pain series. But his newest book, Stone Academy, this is indie. Indie published it. It's a brutal tale of discipline, revenge, retribution. Alec is a pulp fiction writer, so his books tend to be much shorter than Glenna's. Of course, what they lack in size, they more than make up for with gripping suspense and almost indescribable violence. The violence is exquisite. I mean, they're so violent they're banned in some countries, okay? That's cool. I read it. I like it. For this book, after consulting his lawyer, he abandoned legacy publishing and he went indie with it. If you went to Amazon and you typed Alec MacLeod Stone Academy, you'd find his. The same way going to Amazon and typing Glenna Rollins Riddle will show all kinds of books, especially this latest one that I really like, Before She Sees Tomorrow. All right. Here's a quote from Alec MacLeod, our pulp fiction writer. Quote, "I've never looked back. This, indie printing, publishing, is something that if I had known about it before, I'd have pursued it from the very beginning." So there you go, okay? You've got two authors in testimony, more than I could ever meet, who are profiting and enjoying the freedom of independent publishing. There you go. Check out these books by Glenna Rollins Riddle, Alec MacLeod, and Rob and Laura Petrie's The Darkening. I'll leave you to wonder about that one. I've read all these books. They're just an example of what legacy would never allow, but by God, here it is, live, in front of your eyes, on Amazon, on ebooks, many sources where you can buy these books. And because they all have international standard book numbers, you take that number, go to any bookstore, they'll order it for you. Again, think indie.